Hello, I'm Payal Raina, founder at the Fintech B2B Marketing. Welcome to Learning from Marketing Leaders, a series of one-on-one conversation with our advisory board members who comprise the leading minds and possess a wealth of fantastic knowledge within the finance and technology B2B marketing space. Today, I'm joined by Steph Gopalakrisna, Director, Head of Marketing and Communications EMEA for BNY Mellon, Pershing, and Advisory Board Member at Fintech B2B Marketing. Hi, Steph. Thanks for joining us today.
Hi, Payal. It's a pleasure to be here with you today.
Great. Steph, you have been working at BNY Mellon, Pershing for 9 years, nearly a decade. So tell our viewers and listeners about your journey and how did you got into your current role?
Marketing is all I've ever known. That's what I studied. That's what I did pretty much all of my life for nearly 20 years now. I started in the telecommunication industry in France. That was actually quite fast evolving. And from then I moved on to the insurance industry and after that to the finance industry as we know it. So first in London for a MTF that was created post MiFID. And then after that for BNY Mellon Pershing for 9 years now, as you said.
Wonderful, wonderful. Steph, we all know we have been under this lockdown now for nearly 7 months. And talking about this current pandemic situation, our viewers would love to know how you and your organization's marketing plans have been impacted by it and how did you overcome those challenges?
Well, to say that 2020 is full of surprise is actually an understatement. That's definitely not how we planned the year. And we had to adapt. We had to adapt quite fast. I would call out a few things. I think the first challenge, I would say, was a technological challenge. We sent people to work from home and not everyone was actually equipped with laptops and things like that. So we had to make sure that actually we provided, and we did it really fast actually, all of our employees with the necessary tools to be able to work remotely. The second one is probably a people challenge. Managing a team virtually is completely virtually is not always the easiest. So I also had a few people who have recently joined who didn't really know the rest of the team yet, who had to learn to know the team and their stakeholders while working remotely. I even had someone who actually joined while we were in lockdown and never met any of our colleagues in person. That was a little bit of a challenge, but that was overcome quite easily by all of the technology tools that we have at our disposal at the moment to connect and to work virtually together. So that has been really good. The third challenge I would say was from a firm perspective to ensure that we provide business continuity to our clients. So operational resiliency has been a key thing for us. We needed to make sure that actually we have, excuse me. So the third thing for us was operational resiliency and business continuity, ensuring that actually the clients who are relying on us to run the infrastructure on which they run their business was still functioning as normal was key. We had to adapt our processes. Some of them were actually relying on having us and our client in the office. Obviously, we kept a small amount of essential in office because we needed to. Some of our clients did the same, some of our clients didn't. So we had to adapt the processes around that. One thing that is very important, and anyone who works in this industry knows that, the regulator has put much more focus on operational resiliency, how you prove that you can actually ensure that. It comes in as a key role for any firm, especially for firms like ours. The fourth challenge then is client communication. There has been quite a lot of demand and ask from our clients to tell them what we were doing. So, when I mentioned that we had to adapt our processes, we actually had to tell our clients about that. We had to tell our clients how we were doing. We had to tell our clients how things were changing for them. We had to do all of that in a very short period of time, and at a level of knowledge from an operational perspective that most of people in my team didn't have, because we never had to go that deep into the understanding of our processes. So that has been also a challenge, one that actually we overcome quite well. And the final thing I would mention is how we came out on the other side of it. Once the immediate needs were met, it's also resuming some BAU and continue to grow the business, continue to engage with our clients. All of the stuff that we have done to ensure business continuity, to ensure that our clients could continue to run their business, were becoming selling points. So we actually had to tell the world how well we did, and ensure that there were opportunities that were open to us, because clients also realized that they might need the help of firms like us to continue to do their business. One final thought I would say is this pandemic has put one thing really much into highlight, is how important it is for firms to do a proper due diligence on their providers, on their vendors. And there's also the role of a marketing and communications team to be able to provide clients, the sales team, and other stakeholders with the information that they need to reassure the clients about that.
Indeed. Steph, one thing you mentioned about was regulation. Now, regulation is a very interesting topic, especially within fintech and particularly within the capital market. And it's such a hot topic, and I would say it's a new normal for our industry since it has taken so much precedence in past few years. So from my perspective, I would like to know, as a marketer, why do you think regulation plays such an important role for us from a marketing standpoint, and how does it impact work of a marketer, especially from regulation perspective? So it would be good to get your views on that.
Yeah, regulation is the new normal. I don't think I have known this industry without the amount of reg change that they had to go through. So to a certain extent, I owe my career in the financial industry to reg change and the opportunities that it created. I'll start with one thing that I think every marketer had to deal with, whether it is in the financial and fintech industry or any other industry, which is GDPR. GDPR has changed the way we have to do business, or the way we do business, because it puts some ownership on firms in terms of how they collect, manage, store personal data. So all of the data that is collected on websites, all the data that is used for marketing campaign, etc., had to change, or we had to be become much more aware of how we were using that. I'm not going to go into the detail of that, but I think one important thing is that as a marketer, reg change actually had impacted our job. It puts probably also a little bit more focus on privacy and on trust, because personal data is considered as an asset today, and being able to prove how you manage that assets on behalf of your clients, your stakeholders, is actually key. The second part I think that is important from a reg change perspective is obviously the reg changes that have impacted our industry as such, whether it has impacted business models, revenue, cost, obviously, and the infrastructure and the shape of the industry as such. We know that MiFID II has been a game changer because of the magnitude of how it has impacted the industry. CSDR for me will have exactly the same significant impact on the industry. It's likely to be postponed from February 2021 to February 2022, but it has not done yet. But irrelevant of when it's going to happen, it will be impactful. SFTR is another one, for example, that could be very interesting and impactful. I want to call out another one that is slightly different, which is SMCR. SMCR didn't necessarily have the same technological impact. You didn't have to actually build out technology solutions in the same way that you have to transform your processes and your technology that you did for the others, but it has an impact on the culture of firms and the way business is conducted. So whether it are rules that actually impact the BAU, the processes, the day-to-day, or rules that actually are impacting how you run a business, rate change is shaping our industry. And as a marketer, there is no choice. It's not that, you know, you can either understand it or not understand it and do without and rely on SMEs. You don't have that choice. As a marketer in this industry, you have to know direct change.
Yeah, especially because some of these regulations are so complicated, they're so detailed and technical. I think it put more onus on marketers' shoulders to ensure that they can simplify these regulatory changes and communicate back to their clients so they can understand the impact and what does that mean for them.
Absolutely. I think we are not living in a world today where compliance officers talk to compliance officer anymore. You're actually in a world where everyone talks compliance and everyone needs to talk compliance. And that's the role of the marketer, to your point, to be able to actually understand rate change, translate it, because it's almost like a different language sometimes. It's pretty much the same as technology to a certain point. Translate it and make it digestible for your clients. If we were to talk about rate change and how you can use it as a marketer and how important it is, obviously you need to start to understand it. You need to be connected to your regulatory change and compliance SMEs. Today at Pershing, the rate change director is someone that we talk to almost daily. The second part is actually SMEs are what they are, i.e. SMEs, they know their things. It doesn't mean necessarily that they can translate what they know and what they understand into something that is impactful. Yeah. So trying to find what they say and in their knowledge, what is potentially a news angle for PR, for example, or what is that's a really good, important thing. That's a benefit there for our clients, comes to the marketing person to actually being able to identify in that knowledge, in that technical knowledge, the gems almost that you can use from a marketing and comms perspective. And you cannot do that if you don't understand reg change. So it's understanding, simplifying, and finding the angles, the gems that you're going to be able to use from a reg perspective. There are many things, and I think we have been able to do that quite well at Pershing.
Sure, great. So now looking forward, Steph, from where we are now to, let's say, 6 to 12 months to 18 months time horizon, where do you see what's next? What are the key things marketers should be keeping an eye out for? And whilst pandemic is taking a bit of a priority, but what are the other things they shouldn't lose their sight from?
I'll call out three things, I think. One of them is slightly on the same level as rate change, and the other two, not so much. The first one is Brexit. By the end of the year, the UK will be completely out of the EU. We have not renewed the transition period, which means that on the 31st of December, that will be our last day as part of the EU. There's a lot of conversation at the moment around permissions, about things like that, but whatever the deal is going to be, there is an important role there for the marketers to be able to ensure that actually you will be able to continue to service your clients inside and outside of the UK or the EU, depending on where you're sitting, and you will have to adapt your marketing and communication strategy to that. From a reg perspective, by the way, it might also mean that actually we are going through more divergence. So the rules might not be exactly the same for the UK and the other markets. So go back to the point that I made earlier about understanding and simplifying. Well, the world is going to get even more complex. So your role is our role, by the way, is actually even more key. The other two things that I want to call out very quickly, obviously digitization. such an important thing in what we do at the moment. The pandemic and the crisis has shown the importance of actually having automated, digitized processes. Clients are going to look for it even more so if they haven't already. So that's a key angle for any marketers. And the last one actually coming up is ESG. So I think I would advise any marketers working in this industry to be interested, learn, be curious, and find out about those topics, because this is where your value is going to be.
Fantastic. That's really awesome. Steph, we finally, we ask all our guests the 3 key pieces of advice or takeaways which our viewers and listeners can benefit working in the fintech, financial and technology space. So yeah, what would be your pearls of wisdom there?
So the first one will not come as a surprise, because I feel like I have been saying that for the last, the whole interview. Learn the business, understand the business, understand who the stakeholders are, understand your business model, understand what impacts your business model, what impacts your client's business model. For marketing to be a strategic function and to have a seat at the table, you need to be able to speak the same language as everyone else in the firm. You're not there just to translate something into something that is easy. You need to be able to understand it, to actually have a voice, and your voice and your strengths come from the understanding of the business. So that's the first thing. The second is plan. You need to plan. You need to actually have an idea of what is coming next, how you're going to deliver it, etc. And then when you have that plan, you need to be flexible and be able to throw it all away if something else like COVID-19 comes up, and then you actually have to rethink, replan, and deliver new things. So plan and then be adaptable, I think is key. The third one I would say is focus on the story. We are marketers, and people might think that what we do is easy. It's really not. Trying to make something complex simple, trying to make something complex impactful is actually not the easiest job in the world. It's probably one of the most difficult one. And to be able to do that, you need to focus on the story much more than you focus on the process, on the how. And finally, if I may cheat a little bit and offer a last one, I would say be the voice of the client, be the voice of the outside world. You are naturally the voice of your company to the outside world. You also can bring the voice of the outside world within the company, because then you actually join and connect the inside and the outside world, and that makes you an invaluable person in the firm.
Thank you so much, Steph, for sharing those wonderful insights. I'm sure our listeners and viewers are going to find this so beneficial. And thank you so much again for your time.
No, thank you. I really enjoyed it.